am now recording. All right, so today I am interviewing Hoodoo Sen Moise, and he has the book, The Working Conjure, A Guide to Hoodoo Folk Magic. And when I first got this book, because I actually pre-ordered mine, I was really excited about it. And I think I reached out to you on Facebook, and you probably thought that I was like a stalker or something. And you was like, I think.
Oh, indeed.
You probably thought I was a stalker, because I came to your store in New Orleans back in August of last year, and I did a YouTube video on some of the stores that I went to in New Orleans.
Right.
I was saying how welcoming your store was and how helpful she was. Not that I went in like I didn't know what I was doing, but I was, a lot of times with these botanicals and stuff, they're not very helpful. They have a lot of things in it, but they're not very helpful. So I was impressed by that. And then I started looking up everybody who owns these stores in New Orleans, and I was contacting them just to let them know that I did mention their store. Not that me mentioning that store would mean anything, but I still wanted to, you know, respectfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, spirituals to get beat off in your ass. You'd be like, oh shit. You're like, girl, you know, kind of temperamental.
Right. Yes, indeed.
So because also you guys are coming down here next Saturday, and we had talked about doing a video before, but I thought since
we did.
Yeah, I thought since we're doing it, I might as well introduce you to my tribe.
Yes, Lord.
Damn, I should have made me some coffee.
See?
All right. So I'll get with the questions and stuff like that. And I really took my time because I haven't ever interviewed anybody, and I certainly haven't interviewed, you know, some of New Orleans hoodoo royalty. So I'm very honored that you. Well, you know, when you can impact people, like real shit, this is the only reason why I haven't like just came out and finished my book yet, because if you can't impact people like you impacted people like me, then I don't want to put no shit out there like that, because you know people be ready to roast you. They're like, you see this trash?
Oh, always, yeah. But the funny thing about that, what I tell people all the time, you know, is that, you know, haters are our biggest fans. And so, you know, you can love me or hate me. I don't care. I don't care. It's not going to stop me from doing what I'm doing, number one. But number two, if you hate the people that you know, what, you know, the haters or whatever, like they're the ones that are always around. You know, they're the ones that are, they ask you more than anybody else.
And they remember everything you say better than
of course.
Fan.
Oh, yeah.
That's like 2 years ago, she said, you were like, damn, I don't even fucking remember that. Okay, girl. Trust me, I know a lot about that. I have a couple of talks the shit and trolls the shit out of me. Fun stuff.
Yes.
All right, so into these questions. All right, so how long have you been practicing Conjure?
I've been in this, at the end of May, will have been 37 years. It all started when I was a kid, which there was an introduction made to my ancestors, to the ancestors. And from that point is when, you know, things, you know, really began to progress, because, you know, this work, I don't care what anybody says, this work has a primary foundation of the ancestors. It is on the backs of the ancestors that we're able to stand where we are today, which is why you hear me harp on that all the time, because without that foundation, we're nothing. And that's where this work really begins, is with the ancestors, and that is what carries it through. So that was, you know, was my introduction, was to the ancestors first. Because if you don't have a foundation with your ancestors, then you have nothing.
So what do you tell people who don't know who their ancestors are? Like people like me. Now I know only because I was adopted, but I was still in family. And so I know who my biological mother was, and the lady who raised me was my great aunt.
Sure.
And they, so I know only because I was adopted within family. But what happens to those people? Because a lot of people get caught up in it. They get caught up, well, I can't do it because I don't know them. And I try to teach them about the unknown. But what do you suggest for something for people that's like that?
Well, first of all, the first thing is, understanding that there are 3 different types of ancestors. You have the ancestors of the blood, you have the ancestors of adoption, and you have the ancestors of initiation. Those things make up the lineage, that you hold. And in my book, I go into detail when it comes to the ancestors, about how to begin to work with them, whether you know, because you're not going to know all of them. But here's the thing. Once you begin to start to do that work and begin to start setting and establishing that foundation, what ends up happening is that your folks will come to you. Trust and believe. Remember this, that, you are the living temple of your ancestors. That's what you are. They live in your blood. They flow in your blood. And because of that, they're always present. The problem is not with them. The problem is with us, because sometimes we can't hear, see, feel, or know. Yeah. And that's what goes on with that. And you begin that work, and guess what? They will start revealing themselves to you and showing you who they are. So just because you don't know a name or anything at the moment does not mean that you won't, because I can assure you that you will.
You done blew me away with that. The living temple. God damn. Okay. Bless me. The living temple. I am the living temple. Do you know more people thought that way about themselves, they wouldn't let people treat them like shit?
I agree. Absolutely agree. And that's the thing.
Dumpsters and everything. Yep. I apologize, Elder. I'm gonna try to watch my language, because I could be very sad at that time. Ooh, help me. Okay. That is excellent. You said that 3 types. You said blood, adoption, and initiation. And for
correct.
Those who don't understand what initiation is, it's like for me, it was like when I was initiated. My Baba, it was his ancestors. I remember doing prayers and stuff, and they included, and he had a long list of them, but it was his ancestors. So that's what you mean, if I'm saying it correctly, by initiation. It's whoever, yes, like the house or the father or the godfather.
Right. If you go into a spiritual tradition, whether it be a witchcraft tradition, voodoo, whatever, when you become a part of that, when they initiate you to become a part of that house, society, or whatever, then you become a part of that family, and as a result of that, the lineage of that family becomes yours.
Right. Thank you so much for explaining that, because a lot of people don't understand a lot of the concept, because there's so much information out here now, and people that are starting out, they're in search of something. They're wanting something. And so a lot of times people that really don't know, they've read a couple of books, they just go off and then people don't get the right information. So what is the word conjure? What does it actually mean to you?
When I was a kid, like those, like the word like conjure and hoodoo and stuff like that, those words weren't really used. We just called it work. Like, so there was like, I'm going to go to work, to my job, and then I got work to do, which when it was said like that, you knew what they was talking about.
Right.
So like the word hoodoo and conjure, like they in a lot of ways are synonymous. Basically, if I were to break it down in a nutshell, Conjure is folk magic that has a primary root from the Congo part of Africa, which was brought over here, during the slave trades. And Conjure became an answer to an oppression. The way that the slaves were treated, the things that were going on, like, them being beaten, murdered, raped, all of that stuff, there had to be an answer. And the only thing that they had with them when they were brought over here were their spirits, were their ancestors. That's it. And so what ended up happening was they began to start looking at the leaves, in the trees and stuff around whatever respective location that they were at, and then began to start going to their spirits, to their ancestors, to start to use that. Why? Because they were going to rebel against the slave master. They were going to find an answer for that oppression so that they no longer had to deal with it. That's why you hear terms in Conjure like, a lot of times you won't hear Conjure folks say, well, I'm going to curse you. What they'll say is, I'm going to lay a trick. Stuff like that, because what are they doing? They are tricking someone else. But Conjure, essentially what it was a magical answer to change a condition that needed to be changed.
Which applies to our life today.
Absolutely it does.
See,
it absolutely does.
Most times people come into this, and I say this all the time, most time people come into this because they trying to get a man. Just my experience. I'm just gonna speak about just my experience.
Always.
That's how most people come into it. They trying to get a man, and they hit you up, and you do some work. You start doing work for them, and it starts to work. And it's not just working for the person that they're trying to get. It also essentially it starts to change their lives. And most of them fall in love with it during that time because they saw movement that way. Now, for me, I fell in love with it because being introduced to it as a child was very scary. And my mother was very aggressive and strong-willed, let's just say, and very old school in everything. And so, as an adult, I didn't want to do it because I thought that it was quote-unquote dark. And I didn't want to do dark and devilish things. And so I got off into church. I got off into church really, really heavy, even becoming an ordained minister in my search of not, we talked about this yesterday, not trying to be like that.
Right.
What was your progression into it? What was your defining moment, I guess, that made you want to pursue it? Not just small, meaning you just doing it sometimes just for yourself, but to branch out and to help other people.
Well, I've always liked to, to help other people and always have. But, I come from the old school, as well, in that, like, we still, you still, worked your regular job, and then after your regular job, then you would go and do this work, and, so basically it's like a 70-hour work week every single week. You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
One of the things that I saw was that, especially like when things like Facebook and all this stuff started coming out, like with like social media and stuff. Listen, I look and I see some of the dumbest shit.
Everybody.
The dumbest shit.
Everybody.
And it's like, what the hell is it? Like, really, what the hell is this? And the sad part is that people buy into it because they don't know any better.
Yeah, because they're looking for something. They know that church ain't it.
And no, yeah, but they buy into like this dumb shit, and then what ends up happening is that they either get hurt or things go on that don't need to be going on, and like, to me it's really sad. Now I could spend all day complaining about what I see, sure, but the better thing to do is to, do what's called writing the narrative. In other words, if you just bitch about this all the time, it's not going to change anything. But if you just start saying,
And
this
that's
is how
the
you do
energy
it.
too. And that's the energy too.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, if you, just decide that you're just going to say, okay, well, this is how you're going to do this, and this is how you're going to do this. What that does is that has the ability to effectuate a change and also to really give an education. Now, I will tell you, like, even to this day, I see some dumb shit. And there are times when something is just so stupid that I'm like, I got to say something about it. I'm like, this is stupid, and this is why we can't have nice things. So, with that.
Do you worry about offending other spiritual workers? Because
Nope.
I guess I have, because I've said certain things, but it's only because when I was growing up, you didn't see a lot of this, not openly. And so,
Right.
again, there's so much information, and it's so many people that are taking one thing and they putting a spin on it. And Conjure, you can't put a spin on. Conjure is just conjuring. And people don't understand. And this is why I made a whole video about honoring people that came before you, honoring your mentors, your elders, because you need one. I tell people all the time, don't be freestyling this shit. Like, get with a mentor. Ask your God or goddess or your Lord, whoever it is that you use, to send you a teacher, to send you a mentor. Even where I'm at in this, I still desire to have another mentor, because you need someone to feed your spirit, and you need them to feed your spirit the right thing in the right way.
Absolutely. And that is, that is a big part of it, and the other thing is that, sometimes, we all need, how you say, guidance, to keep us clear of foolishness.
Yeah.
Because, foolishness it runs rampant. It just does, like, I've seen some of the dumbest shit, and I'm just like, and I'm the type of person, listen, I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't care. When it comes to, do I care about your feelings? No, not really. I don't. And here's why. Because I care about the work more. That's why. And, if I spent all my time worrying about if I was going to offend somebody, I would never get anything done. Because that's just the way that it is. Because every time you turn around, everybody's like, now all of a sudden, an instant professional of this, that, and the other. Everybody is, an instant root worker.
I was scared to do work for
everybody is like, an instant, or whatever. And it's just like, no, that ain't how this works. And when it comes down to it, as I said before, if you're going to write the narrative, then you have not only a larger stage to perform on, but you're also bringing yourself to a place to where people can actually, get educated and, and educated in the right way, and not, deceived into, all this other foolishness that be going on.
So what would you tell a baby witch or a baby conjurer? What would you tell them? What would be your best piece of advice? The first 6 months they come into this, they want to follow this path, they want to get into this craft. What would you tell them?
What I would tell them first and foremost, you begin with your ancestors. Begin with your ancestors. They are the foundation of everything that you stand on. It doesn't matter what tradition or anything else. The ancestors have that foundation. And without the strength that they give to you, you're not going to be able to stand very long. And the second thing that I would tell them is to find somebody that actually, can help them, and not somebody that's going to just deceive them. Because this is one of those things to where, like, this work is very hands-on and very practical, and that's how it's done. So that's what I would tell them.
So what do you think, like, what do you think the first tools of their trade should be? I tell them always to read, research, and possibly find a mentor. Like,
I agree. I think that reading can be good. However, just like, with like the advent of the internet,
Google and
there's so much
Pinterest.
bullshit. There's so much
Google and
bullshit out.
Pinterest.
Right. Right.
Is this
I
a
would tell them to, I would tell them, yes, to read, but at the same time, look for somebody that can show you. Because the thing is that like there are so many books and stuff that are like, people rave about them and ain't full of nothing but bullshit. Somebody done pulled it straight out their ass and put it on a page.
Maybe that's why I found your book so refreshing, because I was like, there's some good stuff in here. Because sometimes I feel like when you read one book, you read them all. And
right.
It's regurgitated information, and maybe some of the spells are different, but they're pretty much like all the same stuff. So where is the medium at? Like, what do you, because I know my mother was ever like, you don't tell everything, right?
Oh, you never do.
So how do you find that balance of you give enough but not too much? Like, how do you find that?
That balance, the way that balance comes is always based on the individual themselves. Some people can only handle so much. Some people, can't handle, more than what you're giving them at the time. And as they begin to like mature and as they begin to grow, then you can give them a little more. Now, do we give everything away? Hell to the no. I'll tell you this. One of my godparents looked me straight in the eye and said, I want you to understand this. I taught you everything that you know, but I didn't teach you everything that I know. And so, and that's something that dropped like a ton of bricks. And I was like, and I understand what he meant when he said that, is that, what? You're moving along here and I'm giving you this, but I'm not giving you everything, and I'm not giving it to you right now. Because they're, oh no, you never give away everything. And like I said, depending on the balance there is, like I said, it's on an individual basis. It depends on, the growth and the maturity of that, of that person. And so, that scale varies for whoever, it is, for whichever individual, it is. So, so with that, like there are some of my kids I will tell more than I will others, because there are things that others, need to learn first, and they need to grow into first. And so, that's always, like I said, respective to the individual, how they're going to, be able to handle it, and if they can handle it at the time.
Well, so what do you do? What do you think about emotional people? You have a client and you've done some work, and this wasn't even on my question list, but it just came in my head. Well, how do you deal with emotional people? They are, you can tell when you're reading them, especially if you're doing some type of consultation that you're going to work for them. You already know they're going to be a problem because they're emotional as you're talking to them. What happens when you do work and it's not moving as fast as they think that it should move, and they're emotional? How do you handle emotional?
Well, the first thing that I do with that type of person is, if I'm going to do work for you, I will explain to you that this work is a process. Everything is a process. And so, and because I'll get asked the question, well, so when is this going to happen? If I do this work, is it going to be a day? Is it going to be an hour? When is it, blah, 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 blah. And I'll tell them point blank, like, listen, like, I've done this work. I said, there have been a thing that has happened in 3 days. Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it's a month. It always depends. But the other side of that coin is it depends on you as well, because you have to meet the work in the middle. And a lot of times what people don't understand, and this can be very true for emotional people, is that there is this expectation for these things to just happen and happen right now, but they don't realize that in the midst of that, they are becoming their own roadblock.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times they are stopping the work from being able to manifest and being able to happen simply because, they themselves, they can't, first allow the process to work, but secondly, allow the work to do its thing.
He loves to get on top of my computer. Get down. I struggle. I used to turn everybody down. If they were too emotional, I just wasn't gonna deal with it. I would turn them down.
Right.
I just don't want the headache. People think that we have to, because people have an expectation of you. They think that you're supposed to, that you just have to. Just because you paid for me to speak with you doesn't mean that I'm entitled or you're entitled to do anything. For me to do anything for you. And and then I don't like and I hate to say I don't like, but I don't like people that go, well, if you're the worker, I shouldn't have to do anything. Well, that's a lie.
No, of course you do.
That's a lie. Anybody who's saying that, they be ready to get took.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm like, you have a responsibility to the things that you want as well.
Well, exactly. And a very good example of that would be somebody who comes and let's say that they want money work done or prosperity work. So you're going to go do the prosperity work for them, and if all they do is sit their ass on the couch and don't move, guess what?
Nothing
you ain't get a
shit. Yeah, nothing is activated. I told that young lady yesterday, I'm gonna tell her business because I know she's gonna watch this, but I ain't gonna say her name, but I'm gonna tell her business. So, baby girl, I did some prosperity work for her, and everything was moving, and then she said it just stopped. And she was like, she haven't been able to get, and she was like, I paid you, and I don't appreciate it. Her email, because she emailed me and it came out real fucked up. And so I don't ever handle people like I'm supposed to check the fuck out of her for coming to me like that. I always try to reach out to them to find out the why.
Right.
And I tell people, I never look at stuff like, when I do work for you, I never look at it like, maybe this gonna work. It's quite possible. No, everything that's in me, I believe 100% that it's done. So it's not even something that I have to go back and look at because I put everything I had into it for you at that time. So when I read her email, I ain't gonna lie, we human, you know what I'm saying? I was like, God damn, like, that's how you coming to me? All right. So I was like, I told her, I was like, call me. And I was like, no, I'm gonna call her. So I had to take a couple of deep breaths because, I am a Taurus. So, I started steaming and shit coming out the gate. And I was like, and through my age and maturity, I've kind of learned not to be like that, especially in this business because people are very emotional. And so I've learned not to be emotional like that after I compose myself because, she rubbed me the wrong fucking way. So when I called her, I was like, what's going on? And she was like, well, I paid you. And I'm like, it's gotten worse. And I said, well, has your lifestyle changed? Well, yeah. I said, well, how did your lifestyle change? Well, the place that we was living in, we had been having problems with the landlord back and forth. It wouldn't fix nothing, blah, 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 blah. They are regentrifying the neighborhood. And so they got rent when we couldn't afford it. So we had to move in with our family member, her brother. And I said, okay, but my mama's staying there, my kids staying there, my boyfriend's staying there, his family's staying there, and he's a Christian. So I said, so since the work was done, you were having issues prior to the work being done with the landlord. And now you had to move into a situation where the space is too small for everybody. And y'all are just managing. I said, so have you been able to do any of the work that I sent you to go along with what I was doing for you? Well, no. Okay. Have you been doing any of the cleansing and clearing? No. So I did something for you. I gave you the tools, right, to continue it on. But you're now in a situation where you got a lot of vibrations going on there. And they're all chaotic. So do you honestly think that prosperity and abundance can live in chaos? Because you got to have a certain amount of balance. You have to have a certain amount of clarity. You have to have a certain amount of clearing to be in that mode to be able to manifest.
Correct.
Well, I haven't been able to do that in months. I said, so how in the hell is this my fucking fault? And why you send me a goddamn email like that? And she was like, I know, Duchess, I just need to talk to you. So wouldn't it have been better to say, can I book a follow-up or something with you? I'm having some concerns. I'm going through something. Well, yeah, I could have done it. Well, nigga, why you just didn't do it? Why you had to do it like that? Because what if I was one of them people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm getting into it with you, and then that's just a bunch of shit. And I don't really move like that. And so
Right. Yeah.
when you're new in this, because I had to learn it, when you're new in this, people try you. How do you handle people trying you? Do people try you?
Oh, some of them like to. But see, what happens? What happens is that I push back, because I tell people that you know, I am the thing that goes bump in the night. So if you really want to come up that way, we could do that. We could do that.
The thing that go bump in the night.
Yep. I am the thing that goes bump in the night. Yes, indeed.
I like that. I like to call myself karma.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is that, yeah, you know, people will do that a lot of times, but you know, it's like I said before, they become their own roadblock. They become their own worst enemy, and you know, they're the ones who's blocking the work. But you know, they don't, because a lot of times people don't understand that it's important to look at the bigger picture of what's going on, not just what's right in front of you.
Yeah.
Because the bigger picture enables you to see the details that can be fixed so those things can flow, so that road can be open as it's supposed to be. Because if we're going to be changing conditions, then you have to change a condition inside of yourself so that path will open up as it should. If you don't, then guess the hell what? It doesn't matter what anybody does for you. It's not going to do a damn thing.
So do you think, you know, Christians tentatively say that, you know, people like myself, I'm not going to say you, but people like myself, that I must worship the devil? Even though Christians sometimes are my biggest clients and they pay the most for separation work, because they always fucked up like that. Taking somebody's man. How do you feel like if somebody like you going to hell, or you worship the devil, or this is wrong, or if I do it, I'm gonna go to hell? Like, how do you handle, or what do you teach upon that? Because a lot of people, they have this gift inside of them, but they're afraid to use it based off of what they were told before.
Right. And the thing is, the thing is that, do we worship the devil? No. Do we do anything like that? No. However, one of the things that I say a whole lot is, I am what you make me. And if you want me to be the devil, I will walk in those shoes better than Lucifer himself.
I am what you make me.
Yep.
So it just depends on how they come at you. Is depending on how you.
If you roll up on me fucked up, guess what? It's gonna be a problem for you.
And people don't, because people really think that they could talk to you any kind of way. I have an aunt told me that I came to see her because she was sick. She told me that when she left, she opened up her Bible and she was reading Psalms 91. I was like, girl, I wasn't even thinking about doing. Because you doing that stuff my sister used to do. And I'm like, I ain't trying to be funny or nothing, but I mean, did Jesus really save you from anything? You 80 years old, you used to chain smoke reefer, and I think you still do. You literally made somebody else's man. Like, you took this old man that worked for the city of Dallas and then cleaned him the fuck up. And you done made him your man, took him from his wife of 30-some years. And you sitting up talking about me, girl. And you sell pain pills to the point where you can't even go to half of the doctors here in Dallas. They won't write you a prescription. They won't write you a prescription for shit, because now everything is digital, and they quick to tell your ass, you just got some pain pills like 30 days ago, but you sell them. So how the fuck you gonna sit up and talk about me like that? People really need to mind their business. Family too. Talking about she was reading 91. I used to 91 too. Shit. You sure right. Are there any scriptures that you use in particular more so than others?
I love like work that I do when it comes to this comes out of the Old Testament. The Psalms are wonderful. The book of Isaiah is beautiful. And Song of Solomon, but probably the number one, the number one would be the Psalms.
Yeah, I did a video a couple of years ago about the book of Psalms. And Proverbs, people don't know too, is really good as well.
Oh, Proverbs is wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tell them it all the time. Do you okay. Your chapter 8, I told you before, the spirit of place.
Yes.
The most dynamic chapter for me is the spirit of place. Can you explain a little bit? Because I just want to give them something to make them get this book so they can read this, so they can kind of step their game up a little bit more. Because I'm all about that. I want you to be the best you can fucking be. And I want to have the correct information on getting there. And I love your chapter 8 of the spirit of place. I've never had anybody to actually explain it that way before. I love that.
Right. Right. And so the spirit of place, everywhere that you go, there are spirits. Every place that you go has a spirit about it. When something becomes established there, that spirit begins to dwell there. Like there are places of power, like take, the crossroads, for example. The crossroads is the meeting place where the spirit meets the physical. They both come together, which is why it's one of the most potent places to do work.
Right.
You take the river, for example, the river with the moving water to clean things away, move things out so new things can come in. Those spirits dwell there. But you can even take it further than that. You go to, like, let's say that somebody wants me to make a hand for them. Okay, let's say that they want me to they want me to make a money hand for them because they want money. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to get what I put in a hand, in a money hand. I'm going to go and I'm going to get everything together and I'm going to make it. Then I'm going to take it somewhere and I'm going to bury it. I'm going to bury it for either 3 or 7 days, depending. And you know where I'm going to take it and bury it? The bank. You know why I'm going to take it to the bank? Because that place, what happens? Money all the time. It comes in, it goes out, comes in and goes out. So the ground has a spirit that's there, and you take it, and what does it do? You're infusing that hand with the spirit, with that money spirit that's living in that place. You take it, you dig it up after that time is over, and now we're good to go. That's why I think it's funny whenever people they talk about you can make a mojo hand in 10 minutes. Get the fuck out of here. No, you can't. All you've done is you made you some chicken spice. That's it.
Some what kind of spice?
Chicken spice. You can put on some chicken or something like that and then call it a day. You ain't made no hand. Mixing some roots in a bowl, a mojo hand does not make. Like I said, this is about spiritual work.
It has to be activated. It has to be activated. People just don't understand. We really are tools, but they're the activation of that tool.
Yes. They call this spiritual work for a reason. It's not spiritual easy.
It's not what? Spiritual
easy.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what is your favorite color?
My favorite, actually, I have two. It's red and purple.
Red and purple. So red is a power color and purple is royalty. So is that why?
No, I just like them.
Okay.
Because people always, they always talk about how fiery that I am. So I guess that may be why with the red.
What's your astrological sign? Are you a fire sign?
Nope, I'm an air sign. I'm a Gemini.
Lord have mercy. The people in my tribe, they know, Gemini men. I was married to one. What experiences of my life. I'm a Taurus, a Earth sign, a Gemini. Too much for me. You too much.
I'm a Gemini born on the cusp of Taurus.
Oh, even worse. Oh,
yep. I know.
Taurus men and a Gemini. Oh, I feel sorry for anybody. Now I'm playing. Just for anybody you dating both things. They got to have the nerves of Gibraltar. So how do you balance this? How do you balance, like, I don't know if you're married or dating, like, how do you balance that? Like the normal, or quote unquote, the normalcy from in the spiritual work. Like, how do you balance that?
I'm still working on that, and I'll let you know when I figured it out. Like the thing is that you have to kind of like take time out for yourself. If you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to have people 24/7 coming at you. It's like used to be, like my phone would be ringing like all night long. It'd be like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and all this stuff, my phone be ringing until, what happened was with that, what I decided to do was I let it ring, and then I would answer the phone at 1 o'clock in the morning, and whoever was on the other end got cussed the hell out until they stopped calling.
Because they don't think you have a personal life. They think that your emergency is their emergency. And I'd be like,
yes.
No, darling.
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, like, there's, like, and, like, people, like, if you, don't answer them right away, then they get all kind of offended. And I'm like, listen, like, I have other things to deal with, like, for myself, too. Not just for you, but for me, And so
do you find it hard to tell somebody that you're dating that I do this kind of work? Or do you get a lot of women or whoever else, do you get a lot of that want to date you? Because especially being a man in a spiritual work, being a spiritual worker, I'm sure there's plenty of people that throw themselves.
Oh, there's people that that try to do all that. Yeah, I mean, and it's like no, I'm like no.
A lot of men that take advantage, especially of women and stuff like that.
Sure. I mean, yeah, there are. It's just, but like for me, like I'm the type of person to like, if I'm going to like engage in something, then I'm going to like go all in with it. I'm not going to like do this part-time shit. And like when the right person comes along, that's one thing. But until then, no. The answer is hell no. I don't entertain foolishness.
In no form of fashion. I understand.
Nope.
Do you have a favorite genre of music?
Actually, because I'm a Gemini, right? I like all kinds of music, actually.
Y'all like all kinds of shit. One thing ain't never enough for a Gemini man. Not nothing. Ain't never happy, ain't never pleased with shit, and you can't never do enough. Yeah, I see why you think. Nah, I'm bullshit. I'm just playing.
Oh, Lord.
I see why you think. I understand. Makes a lot of sense. See, the thing about a Gemini man is that y'all don't understand the word no. I'm sure that it really helps in your magic because y'all don't understand the word no. You feel like y'all can have every fucking thing y'all want to have and go after it like that too. Whoo, I'm triggered. I'm that, and I'm triggered right now. I feel so triggered. Oh,
Lord.
He took me fast. I thought I had skates on. Oh, goddamn.
Oh, Lord.
8 years was like fucking 25 being with him.
Oh, Lord. I don't know.
Baby, go look, dig him back up. That jar I put him in, and and put some more shit in there just because you triggered me about this Gemini man. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
So let me ask you this. Someone that's been in the game for 37 years, I have been in the game a little bit over a decade. What would be your advice to me? Like, to me personally, what would be some things that you would tell me openly?
what I would say is, like, when it comes to what you're doing, make sure that you don't allow anybody to detract from that. Make sure that you don't allow, any influence to stop you from stepping into where you're supposed to be going. You already know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing now, but the most important thing is to make sure that that focus remains and it doesn't, get, sidetracked, with something and something else and, this, that, or the other. Because sometimes, what can happen is, we're going down the path that we're supposed to go to, and then like foolishness will come up, and then all of a sudden everything gets derailed. And I would say in this, I would say to anybody, always make sure that no matter where you're standing, that you always understand that you are standing on a foundation, and that foundation is something that will make you as strong as need to be, no matter what you're doing, where you're going. The strength that you hold in that foundation of your ancestors is already there, and it's not going to go anywhere. No matter what comes against you, understand that you're always stronger, and you always will be.
Because they're here to elevate you and protect you and uplift you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this. And people know that,
Oh, yeah, very.
because I'm advertising it, and I want them to know that you will be here next Saturday. Well, you'll be here in Dallas the 1st to the 5th, but you will be at my shop on Saturday, as well as, who are the other two that are coming?
Professor Charles Porterfield will be there, as well as Candelo Kimbisa.
I'm really excited. I'm really honored. Nervous.
Oh, it's going to be good.
I'm nervous as shit, but I'm very honored.
Oh, it's going to be good.
So if people wanted to get in contact with you, if they wanted to book reading or get work from you, or even get your book, how would they be able to do that? And I'm going to put all that information in the link in the description box as well. So
typically the easiest way to get a hold of me, they can just like shoot me a message on Facebook, or an email if they want. That's usually the easiest way to get in touch with me, and then we can schedule something with them. As far as the book goes, you can get the book off of Amazon. It's also, like, they sell it at Barnes and Noble, they sell it at Books A Million, all those places. Any of the
that's so exciting. I need to stop being afraid and just
yeah.
I'm really excited for you, and I thank you so much. And I mean it with everything that's in me, because you certainly didn't have to do this. You certainly didn't have to connect with me. You certainly didn't have to do any of this. So I am extremely humbled, and I really do honor you and all of those other people that came before me, because if you weren't here, there wouldn't be a me, and I wouldn't have a platform. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Well, I am very honored that you would have asked me to do this interview, and it definitely is an honor to me that you would ask me, and I appreciate it greatly. And well, we know that I'll be there next week.
Yes, I'm really excited. I've never been to one, so even myself, I'm gonna be. I'm getting the background though. I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing. Energy is going to be extremely high. But thank you so much. What is your email address if they wanted to reach out to you?
It's hougansenmoise@gmail.com. That's hougansenmoise@gmail.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you very much. And I know that sounds like really weird for me to say that, but I really do. Because in the spiritual, in our spiritual community, people are not so forthcoming. They're not so open. And the fact that you were, for me, that says like a lot. And I hope that people do support your group. your movement, like your book, because I love it. And people tentatively listen to me sometimes. So I really hope that they do in this instance. I thank you so much for everything. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I'm going to upload this video so everybody can see the great stuff.
All right.